Okay, so coming into sitting, we'll start with the vagus nerve to begin with. So just come into comfortable sitting. Okay, and we're just going to address the vagus nerve, which is one of 12 cranial nerves that comes from the brain stem. So if you put your hand at the back of your, where the spine goes into the skull, that's where your brain stem is, right in the middle there. And it goes to all the organs of the face, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the ears, the tongue, and then it goes into the heart, into the lungs, and branches out into every organ of the torso. So all those places are influenced by the vagus nerve, and its primary function is sensory. So it's sensory feedback. It sends messages, it takes messages back to the brain. So if you work on the vagus nerve, you can influence all of those, everything from here to here, you have some sort of influence on. So sitting in your chair, just take your fingers and just interlace them and just gently put them at the back of your head. If your shoulders don't like this, you could just put your hands on your shoulders. So it's not important that you have the hands up, but it just gives your head a bit of support, and it stops you moving your head. Otherwise you tend to follow the eyes. And just think about where your elbows are. That's 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock if you think of a clock face in front of you. And I want you just to start by keeping your head perfectly still, but looking across to what would be 3 o'clock. So that'd be one of your elbows. And just look at you're looking with both eyes at the elbow, you're breathing. So because of the influence of the vagus nerve into the eyes, you can actually feel there's a very strong connection to the eyes. It feels like your eyes are being stretched. Make sure you're not moving your head to look at your elbow. So you do this for about 30 to 60 seconds, and you're looking for a sigh or a yawn or a swallow or a deeper breath. And that's a sign that you've just relaxed and really influenced the vagus nerve. So if you wanted to, you could go from what would be 3 o'clock, your elbow, and you could look up towards 2 o'clock and just see if that feels a little bit different. Make sure you're not turning your head. I'm turning my head, I just looked in the camera. So not turning your head, but looking across to 2. It's very hard not to turn your head. You want to, because you're sort of following the eyes. And then maybe you could try looking up at 1 o'clock, and you'll notice that 1 o'clock is harder than 3 o'clock. We try that again. Look at 3 o'clock, the elbow. I'm turning my head again. It's very hard. I'm going to hold my chin. Looking at the elbow, 3 o'clock. Then try looking up at 2 o'clock. Maybe try looking up at 1 o'clock. Just look for that yawn. Sometimes you just feel the sort of the yawn in the back of the throat. You don't even actually yawn, but you just feel the muscles just gently wanting to yawn. And then just gently relax. Just drop the arms for a minute, roll the shoulders. Maybe just put your hands on your face and just drop your head into your hands and just give yourself a moment, because it's quite a big reaction through the cranial nerve into the brain. And then when you're ready, you're just going to shake out the hands, roll the shoulders, put the hands behind the head. So try and keep the head nice and still. And now you're looking over to what would be 9 o'clock. And make sure the head is not turning. First time you do this, sometimes you can feel a little bit dizzy and a little bit disorientated because of the effect of the vagus nerve. I'm going to hold my chin because I'm gradually moving my head over. So what you'll find afterwards is your breathing will be improved. You'll feel more relaxed. Your balance will be better, even though it might feel a bit funny while you're doing it. Try looking up at 2 o'clock. You feel that stretch through the fascial system into the nerves. So there's 12 cranial nerves. They all are responsible for staying alive, basically, eating, getting away from predators, reproduction, digestion. Try looking up at what would be 11 o'clock. So that's the strongest of the 3. If that makes you feel uncomfortable, go back to 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock. You're looking for that yawn. I can feel mine in the back of the throat, in the back of the tongue. Maybe it's just a sigh or a deeper breath. Maybe you need to swallow. So come back down to 9. coming to 10, coming to 11, and then looking forward again. And again, just cup your face, just drop your head, just give yourself a moment for your brain just to assess what happened. And then take your hands away, roll the shoulders. So this next one, we'll go to the strongest range, which is 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock. You're going to put your left hand on the right side of your temple. Just let your head, you're not going to rotate your head. You're going to just take your ear towards your shoulder until you feel a comfortable stretch in the neck. And you're not pulling with the hand, it's just the weight of the hand. And then again, you're looking up to what would be either 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock. So you've added in a neck stretch here as well. So it's a little bit stronger. So this one is called the Salamander, and it's just really coming right into where the cranial nerves are coming out of the brain stem. And it won't be quite as strong because we've already done the first one. But just keep looking at that 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock position. Take some nice breaths. So you do it for 30 seconds to 60 seconds. It's not something you have to do every day. You can just do it, you know, in the beginning you might do it just once a week, and then gradually it might be once a month. And when you relax the vagus nerve, it stays relaxed for quite a long time. And then just gently take the hand away, and then use the hand to just gently push the head back, because your neck will feel quite unbalanced after using that stretch for quite such a long time. So now take your right hand to the temple on the left side of your head. Take your right ear to your right shoulder. Just find a stretch that's comfortable. No pulling with the hand. It's just a heavy hand on the head. And then you're looking up to 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock. And just relaxing. So it's bringing you into a very calm state of mind. So fight and flight is all part of your autonomic nervous system, which the vagus nerve controls. But it also, if you stretch and take care of the vagus nerve, it also brings you back into rest, relax, rest and digest. So your parasympathetic nervous system. So it's very calming. It'll improve your breathing. It'll also improve your heart rate. It will lower your blood pressure. It will affect all the organs that it touches. So everything to some degree, liver, stomach, kidneys, everything. So hopefully you felt a little bit of a yawn or a sigh or a swallow, and then take the hand away from the side of the head and just use the hand to come back into a nice center position. Just roll the shoulders and then just move your neck and just see how your neck is feeling. A few shrugs. So two of the muscles that are really very important are your sternocleidomastoid, these muscles in the front of the neck, and your trapezius in the back. And if they're tight, they're going to pull your head out of place, and that's going to affect your whole spine. So a nice stretch for the trapezius muscle, which goes from the skull to the shoulders to the back of the rib cage, is to put your hand around your waist, hold your elbow on one side, and you're sitting, so that means you're not going to move in your pelvis, and you're just gently going to twist. And just feel the stretch in the trapezius muscles. So it's a really big muscle in the back. It sort of covers the thoracic spine into the cervical spine. And if it gets out of balance, it's going to cause quite a lot of problems, even beyond the muscle itself. Postural problems, balance problems, spatial awareness, all those sort of things. So just a nice gentle stretch. And if you wanted to connect with your diaphragm as well, so more on the inside, do that on an in-breath. You go a little bit further, you'll feel the diaphragm pulling down against the back of the rib cage. Quite a nice stretch. Not too much movement in the neck, okay? So you're not moving the head first, you're moving from the elbow through the rib cage. Now bring the elbow up so it's like a Cossack, and we do these all the time. So same elbow, and you're pulling around, and that's more the middle of your trapezius. So we're not focusing on the spine like we do in the Cossack. We're focusing on pulling the elbow around to feel the stretch between the shoulder blades, or maybe just below that area. And you add your in-breath. And try and breathe into the side that's stretching. And then taking the hands above the head, and now holding the elbow sort of level with the top of your head, and rotating from here. And so now you're going to feel it right down to the back of the rib cage. Still on the in-breath. If your neck feels uncomfortable, put your head on your forearms so that you don't move your neck too much. So if you're neck dominant, you're still going to be trying to use that neck somehow. And again. One more. Lovely, just drop those arms. So just move around, and if you close your eyes, you can sort of feel that you feel quite different on that side that you've just stretched. So put the other hand now around the rib cage. So we're starting low, hold the elbow, just start with a gentle stretch. So you feel how tight you are on that first one. And then as you get used to it, make that an in-breath. So you get that feedback from the diaphragm from within the rib cage. So you're doing on the outside of the rib cage and then on the inside of the rib cage as well. Try and breathe into the side that's stretching. And then coming to level with your shoulders, and you're still focusing on that same elbow, pulling around. Excuse me, coughing. Rotate. Use your in-breath. And then you're coming to level with you. If you put your forehead on your forearms, still pulling on the same elbow, just rotate, breathe in, just get into the lowest part of your rib cage at the back. One more. Come back into center. So everything should feel nicely opened. You could do a few side sways and just see how that feels. So now coming into sternocleidomastoid, the muscle at the front of the neck, and the muscles at the side. You're going to take one hand, with the heel of the hand, you're going to grab the side of the neck and you're going to sponge, squeeze, and pull the heel of your hand backwards towards the back of the room. So you're really pulling on that sternocleidomastoid, and you're pulling it away from the bones of the neck in the front. So doing this outward movement is really safe. You're not going to press on any of your blood vessels here. And you're coming up under the jaw. It connects to the back of the ear. So you're following the jaw line and the base of the skull. And you're squeezing with your fingers as well as the heel of the hand. And you could add a rotation of your head. So you're rotating your head away from the sponge. You could come down the neck. I've got the doors open, so I'm allergic to the trees at the moment and the pollen, so it's making me cough. So it should feel really nice and warm. You're hydrating the muscles, the neck, the fascia. Okay. So do the other side, same hand, same side hand, and you're squeezing the heel of the hand, you're pulling backwards, you're gripping with your fingers, you're rotating your head away from the sponge. You're working your way up the side of the neck. So the heel of the hand is on the sternocleidomastoid, and the fingers are on the scalenes in the sides of the neck and a little bit into the muscles at the back of the neck as well. You're coming up under the jawline, under the rim of the skull. So you could do that with two hands, but just be careful because, you've got blood vessels in the front of the neck, and make sure it doesn't make you feel, if it makes you feel a little bit yucky, that maybe you're better off just doing it with one. So make two soft fists, and you're just going to come up the sides of the neck. You're going to bring your knuckles up under the ridge of your skull. Feel like you're stretching the skin. You're stretching the muscles under the skin. You could drop your head, come towards the back of the skull with the knuckles. Take a deep breath in as you stretch upwards. So your scalenes are breathing muscles. They're connected to the ribs, the first three ribs in the top of the rib cage. And again. Okay, roll the shoulders, move the neck. So the neck should feel nice and warm. So come back to the trapezius. We've done the trapezius at the back of the body, but how about the trapezius that runs from the shoulder to the neck? So opposite hand, and just squeeze like a sponge, and then let the sponge refill with imaginary water. So you're squeezing. It's a little bit painful, this one, if it's usually we're tight, and releasing and squeeze. So you're trying to get the blood and the lymph out of the muscle so that it refills with fresh, nutrient-dense fluid that's in the area. Squeeze and release. Squeeze. So even sort of, 5 or 6 squeezes is enough to make a difference to the tone of the muscles. And again. So if these muscles get too tight, if one side is tighter than the other, it's gonna pull your head out of its central alignment. If the trapezius, if the sternocleidomastoid is tight, it's going to push your head forward, pull your head into a forward posture. So all of those things are going to affect your spine. So now try opposite hand and do the trapezius on the other side. You could relax the arm. So it's not good to do it with the same side arm because then that muscle's active. You just want the arm relaxed, squeeze the water out of the sponge. So it's blood and lymph that you're squeezing through the muscle, and then it's refilling. So it's just really encouraging lymphatic drainage, increased circulation. Pretty sore through these muscles, hey? And more. So it's enough just to make quite a difference to how those muscles are feeling, how tight they are. So the final 2 is you're going to get 2 fingers and you're going to put them at the base of your skull. So you've got the round part of your skull and then the rim of the skull, and you're just above the rim of the skull, just on the beginning of the round part of the skull. And you're just going to, with 2 fingers, you're just going to go in and out. And it's quite a gentle rub. You're trying to just stimulate through the nervous system the muscles to relax. So it's not huge effort, it's that gentle rubbing that talks to your nervous system that tells the brain relax. Okay, so it's not even trigger point this, it's just a communication through the nervous system. Now you could do that with 2 hands, or you could maybe do it with a thumb and a finger, and you could just move the thumb and the finger gently in and out on the bottom curve of your occiput, the round part of your skull. You could put your other hand on your forehead and just allow your head to relax. And then when your arm gets tired, just switch over and do it with the other arm. So a gentle rub. You want to feel the skin and the superficial fascia just moving over the muscles in the skull. There should be glide there. And if you get tired, change again. And if you prefer it, you just do it with the 2 fingers. So it's up to you. This way your head and neck come into a more relaxed position. So one more time, changing. So these are your suboccipital muscles. You're still working on the vagus nerve through the myofascial system, and then just gently relaxing. Roll the shoulders, move your neck. So ideally in a healthy neck, you should have 90 degrees of range. So you should be able to line your nose up with your shoulder. Some people can even go a little bit beyond that. And you should be able to do it in both sides. I can feel I'm a little bit stiffer on this one side. So eventually you want to be the same in both sides. Just roll the shoulders. I think I've done all the ones I wanted to do. Yeah. So we're going to come to the floor. Just make sure I get my notes. Get rid of your chair. Come to the floor. We're going to use a cushion, or we're going to use an air cushion, whichever you've got really. So they're both the same, and probably if anything the cushion will be a little bit harder because it's a little bit fatter. So we're just using it for sensory feedback. So a cushion is fine between the knees, or you could use your air cushion. If you've got the air cushion or the cushion, you want it slightly on the inner thighs, not towards the knees. You want to feel the connection through the adductors, the inner thighs, and you want to feel the feedback. So it's just a gentle squeeze, maybe 10% effort, hands under the knees, and just do a little tuck and do a gentle roll back. So your deepest line of connection through the body is your deep front line, and really from the big toes, through the inside of your calves, through the adductors, into the pelvic floor, and then up through the abdominals, through the spine, all the way to the mouth and the tongue. So as you gently squeeze the cushion, you can just feel the inner thighs, the pelvic floor a little bit more. Try and get a bit of movement through the rib cage. Tuck your ribs under in the front. And just find the range that you can roll through, that you don't feel that you have to strain to come out of it. So it's not really important whether you go to the floor or not. What's important is that you can keep it all in your deep core, and you're not going to lift your heart, you're not going to lift your head, and try and use other muscles to come out of it. A couple more. Last one. Make sure you're not holding your breath. Squeeze the cushion and come forward, little gentle reaches. Little pulses forward, and pull the belly towards the back of the rib cage. Make sure the spine is comfortable. There's no jarring, there's no gripping in your spine. So it's a little tiny, minute movement forward and back, just to hydrate the lumbar sacral fascia. So all through here can be pretty tight. And then just take a nice deep breath in, and as you breathe out, you're just going to roll down. Just going to find the right one. Here we go. That's the one. From having 3 different sheets, you've got to make sure you're singing from the right chart. So just rounding away, squeeze the pillow all the way down. Bring the head to the floor. If your neck feels uncomfortable, you add a pillow for the neck as well. So we've got the feet quite close into the bottom. We've got a nice level pelvis. We're going to gently squeeze that cushion, tuck the tailbone under, and come up into a bridge. And then just find the plane between your shoulder blades. Just feel really heavy there, and start to roll down from that place. Nice and slow. Keep that little bit of a squeeze, 5 to 10% effort on the cushion, and just roll through. So you don't want to squeeze the cushion so much that you feel it in your hips. You just want to feel a stronger connection in your brain to the powerhouse. So you're gently squeezing the air cushion, you're tucking your tailbone under, you're peeling up. Find that flat plane between the shoulder blades, and you start to roll down through the spine. So great ab work, great leg work, bottom work, and the spine gets a good stretch. So one more time, we're tucking under, gentle squeeze of the cushion, peeling up, just find the plane between the shoulder blades. If you float your arms, you can actually feel it even more. And then you're rolling down from the space between the shoulder blades. Gentle squeeze of the cushion. Coming all the way down. Bring the hands back down. So we're just going to work on the leg bones and the head of the leg bone, the head of the femur in the hip. So what we're going to do is we're going to just lift our bottom off the floor, and we're going to squeeze with the right leg, the right knee, the right inner thigh. We're going to squeeze the cushion just with the right leg, and you feel the activation in the hip, and then you relax. Same side, stay with the right leg, do it 9 more times. Squeeze, just gentle and relax. So you want to feel where the femur comes into the pelvis. So you're squeezing with the right knee, the right inner thigh, relaxing. If it gets too much, you just roll down and have a rest. Squeezing with the right knee, your tummy muscles are working, your bottom's working, releasing. Squeeze with the right knee. I'm noticing its work already. This is 5. So squeeze with the right knee, inner thigh, 6. Good one for imbalances, this one. Squeeze with the right thigh, 7. Feel my abs working because I'm holding up. Squeeze with the right thigh, 8. 2 more, or have a rest if you're getting tired. Squeeze with the right thigh. Releasing. Last time, squeeze with the right thigh. Releasing. Spinal roll, come down, give yourself a bit of a rest. And the bottom's down, bring the knees in and just give yourself a little stretch so you feel that side of your pelvis, that pelvic bone, the hip, the femur has worked. Just bring the head into the knees, stretch your spine, take a breath, slowly, gently down. Take the feet to the floor. So we'll see how we are on the left. We're going to lift our bottom. You can support your pelvis if you need to. Squeeze with the left knee, inner thigh. And relax. I can feel I'm weaker on this side. I was dominant on this side, so I got tired pretty quickly. Squeeze with the left. 1, 2, 3. And relax. My abs are still working though, so they're tired. Squeeze with the left knee, inner thigh. Relaxing. Squeeze. This is 4. Relaxing. Squeezing again, left knee. 5. If you get tired, you could do a roll down, you could have a rest, you could come back up again. Squeeze with the left knee, 6. Squeeze again, 7, left knee. It's a bit harder for my brain to connect with this hip. Squeeze, left knee, 8. Squeeze again, 9. Last one, squeeze again, releasing, and then spinal roll down. Feels good to stop and bring those knees in and give yourself a little stretch. You can take the pillow out for a minute, bring your head into your knees and just give yourself a good stretch out. Take a breath. Slowly, gently down. Take the feet to the floor. Have the feet at hip space, no cushion. And you're going to tuck your tailbone under and you're going to come up. Hold your pelvis with your hands. And you're going to just slide your pelvis across to the right. Come through center. Slide your pelvis gently towards the left. So again, you're stretching the hips again. You're coming through center, slide across to the right. Come through center. Sliding across to the left. Come back through center. Drop your right hip and roll down through the right shoulder blade, the right rib cage, the back of the waist, the back of the pelvis. Bring your pelvis to level and then tuck your tailbone under and lift up in center. Drop your left hip. Roll down through your left shoulder blade, your left rib cage, left waist. Back of the pelvis on the left, roll back into center, Tuck your tailbone under to lift. One more time each. Drop your right hip. Roll down through the right shoulder blade, through the rib cage, through the waist, through the pelvis. Come through to center. Tuck the tailbone under and lift in center. Drop the left hip. Roll down through the left shoulder blade, through the rib cage on the left, the waist, the pelvis. Come back through to center. Tuck your tailbone under, lifting to a comfortable height, and then we'll do 5 hip drops on the right. So you touch the floor and you come back up. Touch the floor. As you do that, your femur on the left side is turning in the hip socket. So this is 3, feel that stretch in your left hip, and come back up. This is 4, feel the stretch. So it's subtle, but it's a really nice stretch for the hip. Last time, 5. Come back into level. Drop your left hip. So now the right femur is stretching in the hip. And come back into level. And drop that left hip again. 2. There's quite a lot of ab work and back work going on as well. 3. And come back up. And 4. And come back up. Last one, 5. Come back into center. Just breathe in and lift a little bit higher and just give yourself a bit of a stretch through the front of your pelvis. And then breathe out and roll down through the spine. Now this next one is quite challenging for the abs, and if you don't like it, you could just lift into a bridge and just do some hip drops right to left, just so you're doing something. But you're going to tuck under, come up into neutral, and then you're going to drop your right hip, roll down through the right side of your body, nice and slow and nice and loose now. And then you roll across, you tuck your tailbone under, and you lift up on the left side of your body. So you have to use your abs a lot to get that lift. So drop your left hip, you roll down the left side of your body. Maybe close your eyes and try and feel the movement through the body. As the left hip drops, you roll across to the right hip. You tuck your tailbone under to lift up on the right. Drop that right hip, roll down through the right side of your body. As the right pelvis drops to the floor, roll across to the left side of your pelvis, tuck your tailbone under, lifting up on the left, so get that core working. Last time, rolling down through the left. And this time, when the pelvis comes to the floor, just come into level and just bring one knee in and just give yourself a little bit of a stretch. Bring your head into center. So a lot of work and a lot of flexibility in that movement. Just lift your elbows towards the ceiling. Pull your belly button to the back of your rib cage. Take a breath. And as you breathe out, bring the elbows slowly, gently down. Bring the left knee in. Extend your right leg and extend. And you're bringing your head, your chin into touch. You're lifting your elbows, you're stretching out, hip flexors. Take a breath. Slowly, gently down. So bringing just one more in the bridging sequence. We're going to bring our feet together, which makes it a little bit easier. And we're going to lift our right knee into a folded knee. And then we're just going to lift and lower. And lift and lower. And lift. And really loading up that opposite side in your bottom. Lift. So as you strengthen the glutes on that side, you're really stabilizing that left hip. Lower, lift, and lower. A little bit stronger. Extend the leg, lift, and lower. If that's too hard, go back to your folded knee. Got my inner thighs complaining a little bit on this one. They're like, not sure about this one. They're already quite active. So I'll see if I can do 2 more without cramping. Last one. Good. So just bring the feet together. Lift your left knee into a fold. So start with the easier option, lift and lower. So now the right glute is working hard, lift and lower. So the stronger your glutes are, the happier your back becomes. Lift and lower, lift and lower. Maybe you can extend the leg and do 5 more. Lift and lower. You get cramp, you go back to the first way. 2 and 3 and 4. Last one and 5. And bring that leg in. Just hug your knees. Give yourself a nice stretch. Slide your hands down the inside of your calves. Push your elbows into your knees and just come into an abductor stretch. That's because my adductors are tight. And just breathe. Nice big deep breath. You're pressing those thighs down and away with your elbows. You get a nice stretch. Nice deep breath. Breathing out, relaxing. Bring your knees together and take your feet down. 1, 2. Grab your cushion, either your air cushion or your ordinary cushion, and put it under your pelvis. The minute you put the cushion under the pelvis, you start to feel quite wobbly, and that means you're going to work your abs more than normal. So you don't want it near your lumbar spine. It wants to be under the pelvis. Hold the front of your pelvis, the ASIS. Have your feet at hip space and just start with a knee fold. So you're just lifting and lowering, other side. So you keep repeating that until you can do that and keep the bones of your box nice and still. If everything's wobbling around, you need to tighten the corset of muscles, your powerhouse. So once you've got good control of your skeleton, you're going to lift the second leg, lower the first leg, lower the second leg, right leg up, left leg up, right leg down, left leg down, then switch left leg, right leg, left leg down. So just a nice simple exercise, but just waking up your powerhouse. You want to feel that you can do it equally on both sides. You don't want to have a favorite side. So come up into table and just lower the right foot to tap the floor and come back up. And you're keeping the bones in the box nice and still. Left leg down, tap and come back up. Right leg down. It's a simple movement, but it's quite challenging. Everything below the ribs is working hard. So if you've got that under control, try taking your heel to the floor, go a little bit deeper. You flex the foot as you go down, the heel taps. So 1 more each. I feel my abs are working nicely. Last one. And then just bring your knees in and just give yourself a bit of a rest. Shorten your abs, give your back a stretch. Just take a nice deep breath. You could drop your chin and you could just move your nose from right to left. And breathe. So we know now that as we drop our chin, as we move our nose, we're also stretching our vagus nerve a little bit, right at its origin at the brain stem. Just in a nice gentle way. So come back into center and we're going to take our knees to the feet to the floor. Make sure you're still nicely centered on your cushion because I was slightly moved. And then come back into tabletop position. And now we're going to engage our abs and see if you could lower both feet towards the floor. You're not going to touch the floor. You're just going to the point where you feel transversus abdominis, those muscles that run across, and then come back up. So you don't want to go to the point where you feel uncomfortable in the back. You're just going down till you feel your abs become active. You hold there and then tighten more to come back up. Again, you're just lowering, and legs are heavy, so they really help you to find that point. And what you'll notice is as you get used to this, the powerhouse is working, you'll eventually be able to touch the floor and still keep the bones in the box nice and still. It's just about the brain figuring out, you can take the heels to the floor, figuring out what the muscles need to do to maintain a stable spine. Nice and slow. You can feel your inner thighs, you can feel your pelvic floor, you can feel all your abdominal muscles. One more. So as those muscles get tired, you can actually locate them better, which is helpful. Hug your shins. Just give yourself a little squeeze, let the back let go of any tightness. Drop your chin, just move your nose again, just relax. So for neck dominant people, the neck will tighten. Anytime you're working hard, the neck will try and jump in. So come back to feet on the floor, just to give the back a bit of a rest. Make sure your cushion's where you need it to be. Hold the pelvis. We'll float the knees, 1 and 2. So this is one of my favorite exercises. You keep your big toes together, but just let your right knee fall out and keep your pelvis nice and still. And then bring the knees together. Let the left knee fall out. You can't quite see that, but it's moving outwards, and then come back in. So you want to think of the back of the pelvis moving, working as the knee falls out, and then transverses, those deep abdominals, working to bring the knee back in. So you've got your rotators working as the knee falls out, you've got your abdominals working as the knees come together. If that's okay, you could open both knees. If it's too hard, stay with singles, and then really use your abs to draw the knees together, pull up through the pelvic floor, pull up under the ribs. So you're opening like a book. As the book closes, you're deeply using your powerhouse up through the pelvic floor, up under the ribs. The book opens, the feet stay together in this book, and then close and use your abs. And if you wanted to do the proper full version, like a book, the knees and the feet open. So there's quite a lot more weight there now. And then deeply imprint your abs to draw the book back to close through the feet, through the knees. So the book opens. Deeply imprint your abs, draw together. 2 more, opening. About 70% abs to open, 100% abs to close. Last one, opening. Deeply imprint your abs to close, and then bring those knees in and give yourself a rest. So you're on that wobbly cushion, so that becomes even harder on the cushion. Hold your left knee and put your right foot on the floor, and just slide the right leg down. And just find a stretch in the front of your pelvis that feels comfortable. And then turn your big toe outwards until you feel the inside of your leg bone. So that's where your psoas attaches to the leg. And just breathe. Leave the floated leg and take one arm above your head and then the other arm above the head. And then just slide the leg down and lift your belly button and just arch your spine and just give yourself a nice stretch. Add a breath. Take a nice deep breath. And as you breathe out, relax the rib cage down, relax the belly button down, turn your big toe in, bring your hands back to your pelvis, slide the heel back in. So both knees lifted, put the left foot on the floor, slide the foot out along the mat. Just find where you feel a really nice stretch in the front of your hip. Turn your big toe outwards. Feel that nice stretch, and then float the arms 1 and 2 above the head. Lift your belly button, arch your spine, take a nice deep breath in. Feel the stretch with the breath, and as you breathe out, lower the chest, lower the belly button, bring the hands back 1 and 2. Turn your big toe to the ceiling and slide back in, and just give yourself a little squeeze. So take the knees directly over your pelvis, so your leg bone should be pointing up towards the ceiling, hands on the floor, and you're going to do a little sliding action with the knees, scissoring. And you're going to take your knees slightly to the right to where you feel your abs grown a bit, and then come back to center, slightly to the left. So on an air cushion, that's quite challenging. Don't go too far. Over to the right, feel your abs working, make sure your spine is comfortable with it. Come back to center. Over to the left, again, over to the right, last time, over to the left. Subtle but quite strong ab work. Come back to center. Take the feet to the floor, and we're going to extend both legs. And I want you to hold your pelvis at the top and just slide your right heel down and just give yourself a little bit of a back stretch. And come back in and slide the other leg down. So this is moving the two halves of your pelvis. If it feels too strong, you could take the air cushion away and do it without the air cushion. So you're sliding your right heel down. You just feel that innominate, that bone of the pelvis shifting slightly. Come back into center. Slide the left heel down. Come back into center. Bend your knees. So just a way of stretching your pelvis and your low back muscles. So hold the pelvis again. Float the knees, 1 and 2. Single leg stretch in, turn out, and come back in. Single leg stretch. Single leg stretch. Lovely. Remember to turn out, so you just get the back of your pelvis working and take it out of your quads a little bit. You could try going lower, but remember on the air cushion it's going to be quite challenging, and you're always going to be working above the level of your pelvis. Don't try and go to the floor. Stretch. As the leg moves away, pull the belly button to the back of the ribs in opposition to the leg. And again, and again, and come back in and hug. Just bring your head into your knees and give your spine a really nice stretch. Take a breath. Slowly down with the head. So take the feet to the floor again, because that just gives your back a little bit of a rest. Level pelvis. When you're ready, you're floating the knees, heels together. Pull the belly button to the back of the spine. Double leg stretch. As you do the double leg stretch, wrap your toes under as if you're like a pigeon on a perch until you feel the stretch in the top of the feet and the front of the shins. So that's your superficial front line. As the heels move away, you pull the belly button to the back of the ribs. And again. And you've got that subtle wobble with the pillow, with the air cushion or the cushion, that just makes it a little bit harder. We've got elbows on the floor helping a little bit. Last one. Well done. And bring the knees in and give yourself a stretch. Take the left foot to the floor. Take the right leg to the ceiling. Hands behind the knee. So if you've got tight hamstrings, your knee might look really, really bent. That's fine. But you're going to just gently push the heel to the ceiling and drop your sit bone into the cushion. And you're also going to push into the back of the hand. So you've got 3 points of energy: the heel to the ceiling, the knee into the hands, the sit bone into the cushion. So just relax and then stretch. Relax and stretch. A little bit of activation in the abs. If your back feels a bit tight with this, just use your abs enough to make sure your back feels comfortable. If it's jumping into the back a lot, you need to ease up a bit though. So just a little bit of activation in the back's okay, but not too much. Last one. So take the foot to the floor, bring your left leg up to wherever, and start with just the heel pressing to the ceiling and the back of the knee into the hand. And then add that third one, the sit bone dropping into the cushion. Just find that perfect amount of tension into 3 places: heel to ceiling, knee into hand, sit bone into cushion. Just find where you feel it in the hamstrings, but not too much in the back. It's one of those exercises, you don't look at other people, you just go, close your eyes and just really listen to how it feels in your body. And even in your body, you'll notice it's different from one side to the other. You might find one hamstring's tighter and more reactive than the other. So really focusing on you and you today. It might be different today from what it was yesterday. Last one. Okay, so I want you to put the feet on the floor, bring your right knee up, and I want you just to put two hands at the front of your knee and push the knee up into the hand until you feel your abs. 1, 2, 3, and relax. So lift the left knee, push the knee into the knee, push the knee into the hands. So the hands into the knee and the knee into the hands, and just press. 1, 2, 3. So it's an isometric press. So press into the front of the right knee. 1, 2, 3. Press into the front of the left knee. 1, 2, 3. This sort of isometric press is actually quite good for tension in the back. So you can feel it activates the back on this side. 1, 2, 3, not just the abs. And then you feel it activates the back on this side. 1, 2, 3. So floating the right knee. Hold behind the knee and just drop the foot down so the leg goes all floppy. And I want you to push your left knee, I'll do it with my foot, the left kneecap pushes forward towards the wall in front of you. Your left heel pushes into the floor, and then you're going to tuck your tailbone under, and you'll feel quite a strong stretch. I'll do it this way so you can actually see. So you're pushing your heel into the floor, the kneecap pushes forward, you're tucking your tailbone, the raised leg is relaxed, and you feel it in your hip flexors, in the front of the pelvis. 1, 2, 3, and relax everything. So you're pushing the heel into the floor, the kneecap pushes forward, you tuck your tailbone, feel it in the front of your hip complex. 1, 2, 3, relaxing. And again, heel into the floor, knee pushes forward, tuck your tailbone, open out the front of your hip. 1, 2, 3, and relaxing. So change legs. Let the raised leg go quite floppy, relaxed. So you're pushing your heel into the floor. The kneecap pushes forwards. You tuck your tailbone till you feel it in the front of the hip. 1, 2, 3. Relaxing. So again, heel into the floor. The kneecap pushes forward. You tuck your tailbone. 1, 2, 3. Relaxing last time. Heel into the floor. Kneecap pushes forward. Tuck the tailbone. 1, 2, 3. And relaxing. Well done. Take the feet down. Slide the cushion out. Bring the bottom to the floor. And just bring your knees in again, one at a time. And just hug your knees and just give yourself a moment. Bring your head into the knees and just stretch. Take a breath. And then slowly down with the head. Down with the feet, 1 and 2. So roll the knees over. We'll grab our cushion again. And this one is a vagus nerve release again. You're going to put the cushion under your breastbone. So just put the cushion under the breastbone, the sternum. Have your hands either side. Just drop your head to the floor. And just focus on the breath to begin with. Just take a nice deep breath in. Feel the breastbone gently pushing into the cushion. Hold the breath. And then breathing out through the nose. So maybe you do that for 5. You breathe in for 5 through the nose. Hold for 5. You breathe out for 5. Again, breathing in. Hold for 5. Breathe out through the nose for 5. So with your elbows fairly tucked in, just float your head and you're looking forwards. You're breathing in through the nose. Feel the breastbone pushing into the cushion. Holding for 5. Breathe out through the nose for 5. You could lower your head on the out breath. So breathe in and float the head. Breathe in through the nose. Hold for 5. Maybe you're looking forwards. As you breathe out, you're lowering back down. Breathe out through the nose. Try and feel the pressure of your breastbone on the cushion. So you breathe in, you're opening. So you're uncurling like a fern. You're looking forward. You could be looking up. You hold for 5. As you breathe out, you're curling back in again. Breathe out through the nose. So one more time. Breathe in through the nose, opening up, pressing your breastbone into the cushion. Holding for 5. As you breathe out, you're curling back in through the nose, exhale. So just that breathing pattern is going to bring you into contact with your parasympathetic relaxed state, but also the pressure on the sternum is also a vagus nerve release. So just take the cushion out for a minute and relax everything nicely. So hands at the width of the mat, feet at the width of the mat, and just now breathing in for 5 and just curling up, just to wherever you feel comfortable. Hold for 5. As you breathe out, bring the chin back into the neck and roll down. Whatever time you want to, make it longer than 5. So we do that again. We're going to breathe in and we're going to uncurl like a fern. Breathe in through the nose. Put the stretch right down to your pubic bone and then hold for 5. You can count the time with your fingers on the floor. And then you're going to bring your chin back into your neck. You're going to breathe out maybe for 10. Make it a longer out breath. So one last time. Breathe in for 5. Uncurl. Open out the nose and the chin like a fern opening. Looking to wherever you feel comfortable. Hold for 5. And then bring the chin back into the neck. Exhale, coming down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Bring the knees together, hands on the shoulders. Just push back into child pose. Just stretching. And then just do a gentle sway of your shoulders. You can move your hips to the opposite direction. So as you drop your left shoulder, move your pelvis over to the right. Nice and gentle, just be careful with the back muscles. Right shoulder drops, move the pelvis to the left. Pressing into your palms, left shoulder drops, pelvis moves to the right. Right shoulder drops, pelvis moves to the left. Just come back into center, take a nice deep breath in, and as you breathe out, you're just rolling up through the pelvis, coming into knees, and you finish. So that was a vagus nerve and a pelvic stabilizing exercise class. So a little bit of a